but we got it at the end. Got it over the line. Couple of good goals. Great game by Furman. Lewandowski back on the score sheet. I think we always expected to win this, but could have been a banana skin. Dom, how do you feel?
Oh yeah, it was definitely a banana skin, and just goes to show you there are no easy games in the Champions League. It's just the way it is. On paper, this seemed like just a guaranteed win, and while it was a win in the end, and it was also a win that we badly needed because other results have gone in our favor. So this is a massive step for us. As much as it's weird to say, okay,
But what does this do, Dom? I mean, from a point perspective, like, are we on 11th? Are we? What are our chances of qualifying top 8 becoming better with this?
they are. I think they are. We're not. We're still not in the top 8. I don't think we are, or are we? I don't think
Let's,
we
let's
are.
I'll open the rankings.
Yeah, let's go. I think we're just hovering around the 8th spot, but I think we do still need one win. Although people have been saying all night that okay, if Barca win this comfortably, which I don't know, the goal difference is decent, I guess. Two goal difference. Um, what does
Is
the
this?
standings say? I don't know.
I'm
Um,
looking at this one. I'll share something. I think I found this, but I don't know whether this is the right one. Just take a look. Arsenal's on number 1, followed
yeah,
by Bayern. Then you have Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham, PSG, Newcastle, Chelsea. Looks like we are ninth.
we're 9th. Oh
With
wow,
13
that's but
points. Because with the
okay.
goal difference, right? Because everybody's on 13. Look at the number in 13, the 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, like that. They're like
Yeah,
from 6, it's 13. So it's basically goal difference. That's just, making the difference out there.
yeah.
Um,
Which is it's a shame because tonight Slavia Prague haven't scored in 5 games.
and
They
they scored
haven't
2
played.
against us.
They scored 2 against us, and they haven't played a game of football in what a month or something. And of course, they do this against Barca of all teams, and that goal difference it could have proven to be,
Yeah,
it
look at
will
this
prove
goal
to be
difference for
decisive.
Arsenal, 18, Bayern 13,
Yeah,
Madrid 11. Barca is down here at 5, and I think that's where it's hurting us. Goals for 18, goals
yeah.
against 13, so you've conceded a lot.
So,
Yeah,
so
but
it
it
will
looks like,
be
I mean, with we have another so-called easier game, right?
yeah. But let's see. So can you check? Let's check now. Who do Chelsea play? Newcastle and PSG. So Chelsea, Newcastle, PSG. I guess everyone from 8th till 4th. That's only a point difference.
Yeah. That's what I
So
said.
all of
It's
these,
like 1
yeah,
point.
yeah. So all
You
these
can go
teams,
up till 4th or 3rd with another win if people don't win and lose. It's crazy.
yeah, but we do depend. We do depend on goal difference in the last
We do.
game.
We have to
Um.
win the next one for sure.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
there is no way we have to win the next one,
Oh
and
yeah, we
then
have to win.
hope for goal difference to play through and some teams to lose, and then
Yeah.
maybe we can just sneak in.
Well, if we win and any of these teams above us from 8th till 4, not 4th, yeah, 4th, lose,
Yeah, 15
we would
plus
have
3.
more. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
15
would
plus
have
3,
more
18.
points. Yeah. So we
Correct.
would have more points. So yeah,
One
then
has to
yeah.
lose and we have to win, and we are in.
See, I hate when we depend on other people. That's the thing. And these teams, can we
We cannot
real quick?
lose. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Try and check the. Let's try and check their games actually. So who do Liverpool play? Tottenham, PSG. Let's
I don't
see.
know. Let me see. Can we
Liverpool
check?
have got. Yeah, let's have a look. They've got Karabakh.
Matches.
That's not good.
Let's
Yeah, Karabakh. Liverpool play Karabakh. That's not good.
Okay, Liverpool
Um,
play Karabakh. We play
oh,
Copenhagen.
but
PSG
wait,
plays
PSG. They
Newcastle.
play.
This one
They
will be
play.
a good one. This one
They
will be
play
a good
each
one.
other. So someone, well, see if they draw, then this is perfect for us. Actually, if they
Yeah,
draw
I mean, if we
and we
draw or
win,
lose,
yeah,
that works for us.
yeah, it works for us. So either way works for us. Either one of them loses and we jump over them with a win, or they draw and then we jump over both if we win.
Yeah,
So
this is the only game I can see. This is the only one. PSG Newcastle.
yeah,
The rest, I think they're pretty much done and dusted. They're going to win those games. So
yeah.
that's going
Well,
to be
Napoli,
interesting.
Chelsea, I don't know. Yeah, it's
We can go either way though. Napoli on their they can do things.
yeah,
But
but
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
not been playing that well. So who else? Let's see who else. PSG. We said Chelsea, Tottenham, and Liverpool. Who do Tottenham and Liverpool play? Tottenham
Liverpool
plays.
played for Abag. We can
Oh,
see
Karabakh.
Tottenham.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where's Tottenham?
Tottenham, more matches. Let's see. They haven't given it yet. Or at least not here. Match day 8 is what they're showing. Maybe it's in match
That's
day 9.
that.
Um,
Oh, that's the last match day. There's no match day 9. So how is
Tottenham
it?
play Frankfurt.
Oh, there.
Frankfurt.
Okay, all right. Wait. That's also
That's also an
kind
interesting
of
game, though.
interesting game. Yeah.
That's an
Although
interesting
Frankfurt,
game. This is an
but
interesting game. This is an interesting game. For sure.
yeah, although
All three are
Frankfurt have
interesting.
been dire in the Champions, they've been just horrible in the Champions League. So I don't know, but it's possible. I
It is
think your
possible,
best
yeah.
bet, yeah, PSG Newcastle. That's the game to
That's the bet.
look
That's
out
the one.
for. Yeah, that's the
Because
bet. That's
one
the bet.
has to lose. I mean, hopefully one loses. It doesn't matter which one, but one loses. And if he can hold, then we are in.
Yeah, we
Because
will.
only one team needs to lose. That's all that needs to happen
Yeah.
for them to fall out and us to sneak in. So hopefully here we get one of
Mhm.
these go our way and we can defeat Copenhagen. Hopefully, though that's
Hopefully,
also
yeah.
not easy and given in the Champions League. But yeah, we should yeah, we should go for it. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we will. But yes, that would be ideal. And even if they draw, that's also good because they only get 1 point each, and then even better if it's a 0-0 draw, no
Yeah,
goals.
I mean anything. It can be a
Um,
draw, it can be a win. I think, but yeah, the lesser goals we concede, the better for us because I think goal difference will such a player, big
yeah,
role in
exactly.
this.
So, so if they play a 0-0, well, what's the chance? PSG Newcastle. There's no way that ends.
No
No, no,
way. There's
there's
no
no
way that's
way.
a 0-0. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So yeah, it's
we'll
crazy.
see.
But okay, good to see this, and at least having an idea about what it looks like. Got the job done. What a clutch player Firmingen is turning to be this season. I mean, what will be his valuation in the market after this season now?
Yeah, I do wonder. But then would Barca actually be looking to sell someone who can do this on a night like this? That's the question. I don't think
That's
they
critical.
would. Yeah, yeah. We do often talk about Barca not being able to detach themselves from players and then feel like, okay, but this player is nice. We don't want to really sell him. But sometimes you really need to know when to sell a player when he's at his peak value. But recognizing when the player has peaked and when the downfall is coming, maybe on the other side of that peak, that's the key when it comes to scouting and when it comes to well,
But I
just
think, don't you think, like, do you think there is a case of that? I mean, or don't you think that Furman deserves to be a starter?
start. Yeah, I think so. At this point, given that his direct rivals in the starting lineup are Olmo and Casado, I guess to an extent. There's no Gavi. Obviously, Bernal plays a different role. I think so. Ahead of those two guys, I would take Fermin ahead of those two guys at this very moment. Now, obviously, it is kind of opponent and games to dependent because Olmo obviously does better in different situations, but then Olmo, as we all know, has not really shown his quality at all times. When he does, you can see that the quality is absolutely there. Now, he's not producing it as often as Fermin has been, I would say, at this stage, at this moment in time.
Let's look some basic stats from for Furman for the season. So last 3 seasons Champions League, you can see matches played 11, 8. Not bad array of goals for a midfielder, like 6, and solid like 5 assists as well. So 6 goals and 5 assists in 3 years in Champions League. La Liga, 8 goals this season, obviously. Sorry, 4 goals this season, 8 plus 6, 14, 18 goals, 9 assists. Not bad. So you have a player who has this ability to keep scoring goals, keep providing the assists, and it's not that we have a lot of them. So if he doesn't, let's say, will can a Gavi reproduce this output in terms of goals? I mean, I'm not going to who plays better and all of that stuff. But if our dream midfield is Gavi, Pedri, and De Jong, right? That's what we always have wanted. So if that's the dream midfield that we go with, can they replicate this? And we have a forward line which is different, whatever, Lamine and whoever else, Rafinha and a nine. Can they replicate this goal tally though?
The
Um,
midfielders themselves, I don't think so. Not in that lineup. That lineup of midfielders would not score as many goals as a lineup with Furman. I don't think they would. I
is
mean,
there a case
obviously,
for making him converting into some form of an auxiliary forward or whatever, taking him out of that midfield zone? Is there a case for that, Tom?
yeah, there is. There is. He has played as a left winger in the academy, or the academy, yeah, in the lower divisions. Let's put it that way. He has played as a left winger, kind of similar to what Rafinha would do or Ferran would do. More of a inverted forward kind of thing. Very close to the goal, cutting inside, and then being positioned near and inside the box. But yeah. Anyway, yeah. Um, don't worry, yeah, that's fine. So yes, there is an option to play him as a left winger. I think that would be something that would suit his profile. Now, does Flick want a left winger of his ilk? I don't know. We have seen obviously, we have seen him sporadically go out wide, a bit drift out wide, and then crash into the box. He can do that. But as long as Rafinha is on the left and playing the way he is, I wouldn't really bank on Fermin being the starting winger. The same is true for Marcus Rashford, who is, as we saw tonight, he can come on from the bench and have an impact. He did have an assist, and he does stretch the pitch. He can, again, especially against tired legs, Rashford can give you that. Now, Fermin, he can be a starting number 10 at this very moment, but I don't see him as a starting left winger just because the competition in the form of Rafinha is, I think no one's going to displace Rafinha at this point. Right. Yeah, we can take the
So
questions
we can take
here.
some questions. How bad Casado and Bernal combo was in the Copa del Rey will lose against Copenhagen if we can't control possession. I mean, we can lose if we don't play right. That can happen. But Dom, your
Uh, yeah, I wouldn't. It's tough. So, wait, so we don't have Pedri either. I know we don't have De Jong due to the yellow card accumulation, but then we don't have Pedri. Is Pedri injured? I know he came out. He came off.
came
I
up.
don't know if Yeah, yeah. I don't know if the injury is confirmed or not. But if we don't have Pedri, don't have De Jong, you don't have many other options. To be fair, Casado will have to play Bernal. Yeah, could play as well, but then Olmo. Oof, that's a rough midfield. I mean, it can work, especially it's Copenhagen. So we should be able to control the game, despite not having Pedri and Frankie. But to your point, KJ Leon, it might not be as easy as we would like it to be because we see now that in Europe there are no easy games to begin with.
He hasn't played in 3 seasons. It's true though. It's a true thing. So even when he comes back, when can he expect a tier one starter material work coming out of Gavi? We'll have to give him time, right? And in that time frame, who takes his place or what's the adjustment?
Without Gavi, I mean, ideally, as you said, Gavi would come in and be at number 8 as well because Gavi has similar strengths to Pedri. He's also quite persistent. He has good attacking instincts. That's why Flick has put him up a bit higher up the pitch in the past. But he does have the fundamentals of a number 8 of an interior player. So I would assume if he was to come back and then if he was to retain his fitness and match sharpness, all that stuff, and everything finally falls into place, I would say yes, Gavi plays as an interior maybe next to Pedri and De Jong. But then obviously long term, we all dream of seeing Pedri, Gavi, and Bernal in the same lineup in midfield. But I think until Bernal reaches that point, and until Frankie is no longer at the club, or I don't know, just falls off a cliff or something, I think it will be Frankie and Pedri as the big cornerstones of the midfield. And then the third midfield would depend on number one, Flick's system, because Flick might want the number 10, he might want an interior, we don't know. And then two, it would depend on form as well and the profile of the third player. Um, and that third player can be more of a situational pick, if you will.
I know. I mean, Mandy's. You talked about it, and yes, there are reports. Some reports we have. I've also seen them, but I don't know. We have never sold anybody to Atleti at 30 million. So I'm not really sure that this will go through. But yeah, I mean, if it happens, the question is it the right time with the squad depth that we have right now? Do we cash in for the rest of the season, go back to 1:1 or what have you, or Dom? Do you think there's a point in keeping him and then checking in the summer?
I wouldn't sell him just now in January. That as a bet. I don't know if we can get this evaluation, this price tag in the summer. Then yes, I'm all for it. And the the thing with Casado, I love that guy. I've been scouting him since he was the captain in the academy. And I've shouted from top of my lungs that he needs to be in the first team, and he has done a good job. And I think he has a fantastic personality and mentality and all that. But I don't think that he brings enough to this midfield anymore. He can be a solid kind of a squad player, a depth kind of player as well, but then not more than that. If we are looking at players who can take Barca to the next level, Casado will not be that. Now, January is a tricky month to sell and to sign. If we can get this for the summer, then yes, I would say go for it. If the option is only for January, then I would be a bit more hesitant there, to be honest with
I would agree with you. Now, there's another question on: do we think we have regressed as a squad by the season? And if so, by so much? Regressed? Don't know. I think we play similar. We were lucky, very lucky last season. Things fell on our like things just went our way, and this year, squad's been brittle, and luck has been bad at times. But that's what I think. Tom, what's your take?
Well, I regress. I don't know. It's just that these Champions League games just they reveal so much. They do reveal our flaws more than anyone else. So La Liga teams do not do this to us as often. Even the Sociedad loss, we played them off the park essentially, and they needed some voodoo stuff to beat us. Let's just put it that way. Even though they of course they deserved it because that was the score at the end of the day. But in the Champions League, you can clearly see this team doesn't have the necessary physical floor or the dueling or the see these things in Europe matter so much. And when you don't have that floor to kind of go toe to toe with these teams and kind of tussle and bustle with them, you struggle. So I think it's not that Barca have regressed as much. Yes, we are tired. We are kind of in a patch that maybe things are not clicking as much. And so it does seem like we regress, but no, I just think that these teams, especially on these kind of nights and conditions, were very bad as well. I think that kind of highlights your flaws a lot more than what you see on a weekly basis in La Liga, because most La Liga teams are not capable of doing these things to Barca.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And I think like physically we are. Yeah, we get found out. You can just see it. Energy wise, we can't just keep up in the CL nights. Even today with Slavia Praha, I mean, it wasn't that they were playing champagne football, but
No.
we struggled just physical intensity. We struggled throughout the game. Most of our players, and that's a problem. That's not going to go away because that's just a fundamental tenet of how Barcelona is and how we play. A lot of pointers on how we ship goals so easily. I think
Mhm.
that's been our DNA for the last 2 seasons because we just play in that way. Now, there's obviously the John Garcia factor, and a lot that has been talked about how he has really
Yep.
changed it and saved games and so on and so forth. But if you look at the number of goals we are like conceding, that's not really gone down. Like we are still shipping by truckloads, right? So. Um, how do you mitigate or how do you balance that argument or conversation?
The thing is, we can't expect Joan Garcia to suddenly stop all of that. I mean, the things that he has to face, the lack of this defensive shield ahead of him, because the goalkeepers are the safety net. Right? They're your last resort. If the opposition is constantly put in a good good situations to score, then it's inevitable they will score eventually. They might John Garcia might stop one, two, three, four, five, 10 great chances, which he has done this season. Look at his
Still
highlight.
shipping.
Yeah, I know. It's very unfair of us. Yeah, that's why we don't want to put everything on John Garcia, and that's why I keep saying the less we need Joan Garcia's heroics,
The better.
the better we are. I think that's the best way to explain it, because if you constantly rely on one man's supernatural ability to not to concede goals, then something's wrong with the team, the structure, the defensive line, because you still keep conceding great chances. It's just like your goalkeeper is just somehow stopping everything. But that's never going to happen, right? Joan Garcia will be a difference maker for us moving forward. I'm absolutely sure he will, but not even Courtois, not even Neuer, Lev Yashin, no one can do this without fail, right? It just it doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
On the same level as last season for these seasons. Yeah, they aren't. Leva obviously is. You can make out the age, and I think Furman also has. Sorry, Lamine also has been affected by injuries, and I would also say to a large extent teams finding out ways to tackle him better or contain him better. Um, Lewandowski, we have an answer. Probably, we'll probably find a replacement. Whether he'll be as good as him or not, that's beside the point. But we'll probably go for a replacement. With Lamine,
Yeah.
is it a question of adaptation, Tom? And do you think how many seasons do you think it takes for him to reach that peak? He's 18. He's a kid right now. With the evolution that is required, with the learning that he needs to go through, and everything that will need to happen. When do you see peak Lamine?
Oof, that's a very difficult question. When do we see peak Messi? It's
22,
it's
24, 24, I would say. That that
but
that
then
that
our
that he didn't win. I mean,
yeah,
around that time.
yeah. Um but then Messi kept evolving. As see the fantastic thing about Messi was that he was constantly evolving, and he was constantly putting the team on his back. Whatever the team needed Messi to be, that Messi became that thing. Goal scorer, assister, one man army, whatever you need, Messi will do that, right? Um, Now I do wonder how Lamine's evolution can mirror that, if at all, right? Is he the kind of player who can also adapt to the needs of the team? I think that will be the big question around Lamine's potential ceiling, because he's already getting compared to the likes of Messi, right? Not that he should be, no one should be compared to Messi, which is just the way it is, but then you can't avoid the media comparing him to these greats already, which is fantastic for him, don't get me wrong, and for us as well. But then I don't know. I think that will be the big test for me. Like, can Lamine actually put the team on his back and say, "Okay, fine, the team needs me to be this, so I will be this. The team needs me to perform at a certain level or perform a certain role, so I will assume that role and I will perform at that specific level they need me to." What is his peak, his ceiling? I don't, honestly, it is frighteningly high. It is. We know that. And I wouldn't necessarily say, Horizon, that Lamine has been much worse this season. He's had some of the best performances of his career already in this season, I would say. It's just been very up and down because of injuries and not playing and been playing too much and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot there that goes into it of nuance. It's very difficult there for me to say what his peak will look like at this point, though.
Well, Vanley has a very specific answer. He says there's going to be the 2030 World Cup in Spain. Maybe. It was anyway a theoretical question, anyways. I love that Araujo presence today. Yes, I think the team is doing what they can to slowly bring him back into the squad, drip minutes, end of games. Hopefully, this gives his, mojo back or his
Yeah.
confidence back so that he can be effective in the business end of the season, which will be from, we all know, from April, May is when it becomes really, really difficult. So I think
Mhm.
we have the couple of months to really get him back into shape. So that's happening. Should we spend 30 million on Rashford? We often answer this question almost always. Our answer has always been the same, that we don't think it's the right way. But I mean, if there's no other better options as well in the market, so it might just happen. But has he warranted enough or done enough? To me, no. Even though he has given a lot of assists, and he really keeps his head down and does the job, so I appreciate that a lot. But
Mhm.
when for us, for what we need at this time, I think, yeah, I mean, probably there are other options. We can look into it, and so on. What else are we talking about? Let's see. Bilbao won against Atalanta, so yeah, they somehow won. They haven't been good this season, so hopefully they can keep it up. They're a good team. It's just that this season we haven't just gelled at all. Can we sell Castro and bring a quality center back in this window? I doubt. I really doubt,
I
because
don't
we are
think so.
not we're not at the financial fair play margin. So even if we sell, we can't invest that entire money. So let's say we even sell Casto for a 30 mil or what have you, you'll be able to use 5 mil or 6 mil of that. And it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. I don't think Flick is going to destabilize the team with a new player coming in the middle of the season. I think we have what we have,
Yeah.
and we'll go with that. Summer, we will see if something can be done. And even with that, I don't think 30 million is going to get us anything. Not a good one, at least. But Dom, your thoughts?
Oh no, I don't think so. For 30, I mean, you could potentially go into the market and get someone who's a lower profile, kind of a smaller name kind of thing, which I don't mind. I don't mind as long as it's the right player. But I just don't think that we've not really been smart buyers. I don't know if we can count on Barca to find someone who's just not as popular but still an amazing signing. Have we done that in the last, I don't know how many years? Yes, with the academy we have, we can always unearth gems in the academy, but then going out in the market and buying someone. I mean, Rooney Bargi has been a good signing that was cheap as well, I would say. Uh, so it's possible, it can be done, but then I wouldn't really rely on Barca or Deco to go and actually unearth a gem out there in the market and buy someone for peanuts who turns out to be, a diamond in the rough. I'm sorry, I don't have enough. I don't know what the word is. Trust in Deco, I guess, to do that. Well, yeah, we'll see.
Well, I guess, yeah, and but Danny, to your point, I do respect Radford. His GA is actually good. You're right, it is good, and absolutely accept that. It's just that I don't think that, um, yeah, um, I would
It's
expect.
difficult because yeah,
Right.
30. Sorry, Dev, to
No,
interrupt.
no,
Yeah, 30 million is it's kind of see. I love Rashford but I don't like him as a starter. I
behavior
do
is
like him
amazing.
as a sub in these kinds of games when he comes on the 60th minute or something, fresh legs, he just torches everyone in transition in open space, and he can always create this output for you. Goals and assists, Rashford will always give you that, and that's invaluable for a bench player. If he can do that consistently, that's invaluable, right? But then 30 million, again, Barca are looking to renegotiate that as far as I understood it from the reports. If that can be lowered, yes, sure, because we're not going to get anyone better anyway. But is left winger then going to be the priority that we go for? Because we do have to spend money on a center forward and on a center back. Those two positions are way ahead of the left winger. And then there's also fullbacks. You need depth there. You need maybe potentially a defensive midfielder next to Pedri and De Jong.
It's a balanced perspective more than
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah,
Like, where,
yeah.
since we are poor, we have only 30. Where do you send that 30, right? And that's where I feel that, we probably need to be circumspect. If we had all the money in the world, sure, go buy Rashford, go buy another five. Who cares, right? So no, it's not a disrespect thing on Rashford. I like him. I really do. Like, I think he's been impeccable in his behavior, how he has been mature and how he has taken, and whatever he is doing, incredible. And we benefit from that. But it's more to do with our situation and where we are in reality. That's where the thing comes from. Okay, there are questions on thoughts on Rooney. We let me share this for a while.
Yep.
That, and we can possibly show you some things on Rooney. This is, and we are doing this piece between me and Dom, and we should be getting this out on the blog. So there's a lot more data, but that's what Rooney brings, right? And you can look into it. Obviously, this is dependent on very small game time. He's hardly playing. But I would say there is a good player out there for the price, who can come off the bench and drive an impact. And if given time, because of his age and because of how you can mold him, and depending on the coach and what have you, I do think he brings. It's been a smart piece of scouting. That's what I would say. But Dom, you're a better, like, you're more detailed in the scouting. Like, I've just done the data work. So what's your thought?
Oh, absolutely. He has grown this season alone because when he first started getting some game time at the beginning of the season, I wasn't that fond of him because he was making some rookie mistakes. The way he was receiving the ball, the way he was struggling to create separation to receive the ball, for example. Because the wing for wingers, look at how Lamine, for example, he can create that separation to give himself a yard or two of space to receive the pass, and then he can turn and face the opponent on the dribble. Obviously, Lamine does all this at an exceptionally high level, and even if he does receive the ball when he's tightly marked, it doesn't really matter. For Rooney, some of these fundamentals, the basic things, were very off at the beginning, but he's kind of grown into this role at Barcelona. And sadly, he's not been given, in my opinion, he's not been given enough reward or game time as a reward for those performances. But then again, it's difficult because he's competing, quote unquote, with Lamine for minutes oftentimes. But yes, to your point, Dev, the data does kind of confirm the eye test. There are certain things that Rooney just gives you, and that he brings that energy. But also, when Lamine is not there, well, Rooney is not the same quality. He does kind of replicate the profile that you need on the right wing, kind of a creative guy who unlocks blocks, who kind of brings a little bit of chaos and pace and trickery into the front line. And I think we need that, especially if you have someone like Rafinha on the other side and Lewandowski down the middle, because then you have limited trickery, agility. I don't know what I'm looking for here, but you have limited amount of that. And Rooney brings that, especially in Lamine's absence.
Well, yeah. So thank you for that. You said it far more eloquently than I could have ever done that. But yeah, that's the point. I do think he does bring into something unique to the table, and for the way we have
Mhm.
signed him, I think it's a smart piece of scouting. So I
It
think he
is.
does, and we should keep him. Don't hesitate. Sign up because we will be launching this piece, and you should. And there are like a lot more visualizations like this, so you can get to have a much better idea about. We've analyzed everything across scatter diagrams and whatever and all of that, which tells me that it is a sad day for all of us with FBref cutting out Okta data access to all our football lovers out there. I used to use it all the time in Python and run scripts. I'm very sad that we won't be able to do it without paying tons and tons of money, but we'll figure out a way. But yeah, I mean, subscribe to the blog and wait for that. We will be publishing a piece of Rooney quite soon, and hope you like that.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go into, if we don't cash in on Rooney this summer, Danny Rodriguez will probably be another La Masia player who will push for a move. When offers come for Rooney, how much would you sell him for? Well, it doesn't like. I mean, is Danny Rodriguez better? I mean, yeah, we are very upset about some La Masia players moving, but they will. This happened. If you think about, so this is my theory, and I may be wrong, but this is my theory. We had that golden generation that came through, and when they did, it was beautiful because they're all from La Masia, and then they consolidated their space, and then they held on to that place for, I don't know, decade, more than a decade, and for 15 years many promising players could not break into the first team, and they had to go because how do you replace Javi, Iniesta, Messi? You can't. They will be starters, right? And then we had a vacuum. We had a bad vacuum, and then they started redoing the squad again. And now we are getting a core back again. And once these guys are established, it will be very hard for very talented people from La Masia to break again until there is another cycle that comes through. So I think there will be good players that go away. Now the question that always comes through is, okay, is Danny Rodriguez or Drew Fernandez or I don't know, whoever else, like there are lots out there, are better, which we fight for. Um, or is the team that is there on the pitch the best that we have? I do think that the team that we have on the pitch is the best that we have right now. These people have these kids have a lot of potential, 100%, but is potential equal to what will drive what the club needs? I don't know. But Dom, what's your take on this? I feel it's just a cycle. People got lucky when the vacuum happened. People again got lucky when Messi and team en masse, we just wiped them all out and cleaned the stables. And some players got lucky and they were there and then they made the most of it, like Furman and whoever else. But after this, I mean, I do think it will be difficult.
It will be. It always has been. Um, when we think of La Masia, obviously, La Masia is obviously still the best academy in the world, bar none. But when we think of La Masia, you generally think of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, and all those guys. But then the same thing happened now. These guys are the exception; they're not the rule, right? As good as La Masia Academy is, as good as those players are coming through and playing for the first team, we can't expect every generation to be this golden generation. And there will be players who we like, but then maybe the coach decides, okay, just they're good, but they're not good enough to play as a starter or something like that. We will get upset. Yes, it's normal. Those things will happen even for Barca, even with an academy like La Masia. So I think it's all how we dose our expectations because not every youngster will make it. Many of these youngsters that we like will go away on loan or will be sold, whatever, and many more that we don't like. Same thing. So it's just the way it is. Not every La Masia graduate can be the next best thing. It just doesn't happen that way, unfortunately.
Do you think Julian Alvarez is the right striker of Barca? We love Julian, we do, but on this, I think me and Bob Dom are the same opinion that we don't think he is the right one. I just like he's amazing, but I just don't think he's the right one for Barca. And many people disagree with us, and that's okay. That's fine. Because football is very opinionated, and we all have our own opinions, and we respect that. Yeah, Dom, any thoughts on this before we move to the next few questions?
Yeah, I would agree. I've been very vocal about that. Even the other day on Twitter, I did say exactly that. It kind of blew up. Everyone had an opinion on that, but I think he's an exceptional player. I think he would score a buttload of goals for under Hansi Flick, but because everyone does. But I still think that he's a better number 10 for Barca, for Flick especially, than he is a striker. And he would work best if he would get Julian Alvarez and also a proper number 9 on top of that. That would be the ideal situation, but you can't just, he's too expensive, right? He would cost
130 mil.
100 Yes, yes, easily. So I don't think for that kind of money you can go and get almost any, well, not
Yeah.
any striker, obviously, but you can get many strikers for that kind of money. So I wouldn't go. All the respect to him because he's a fantastic player. I just don't think that he's a number 9 for Barca. I think he's a good, excellent, or even elite, world class number 10 for Barca, but not number 9.
Well, if Atleti is ready to do a swap between Casado and Alvarez, we'll be more than happy to do.
Yeah, oh yeah, take him. Yeah, absolutely. And you get Spotify Premium for life if you want. Just take, yeah, that's
100%
fine.
we're going to take that. But anyway, all right. Do you think we'll reach 1:1 rule this summer? We might. We are about 19 to 20 million short right now. So yeah, we might reach 1:1, but that doesn't mean we'll be able to spend because I think of the latest reports, and then we are doing a fairly large piece on their data, and it should come out, finances in the next couple of weeks. But what I did see is that the amount of forget the short-term debt on banks and so that's there. That will be there. So forget that. But there's a lot of debt that we owe other clubs and so on, which has to be paid back, and at the time. And that payment schedule is a little bit different than the bank loan payment schedule, so it's different. So even though if we do reach 1:1, which means we somehow through finances show that we have cut down the deficit, which was 100 million. Now it was somewhere close to about 20 million and so on, with the good results that we had. I still don't think we'll be able to spend next summer. We'll spend a little bit, but it won't be massive spending. I think for massive spending, we have to wait till 2027. That's the window I think Barca can actually go and spend with a balance sheet that allows it to spend as of this moment. So I do think, yes, there's a high chance we can get into 1:1, and maybe we'll make tactical signings here and there, but it won't be 100 million, 130 million. I just don't see that happening. Anyway, Tom.
I don't have much to add to that. You're the financial expert here, so I don't want to even attempt. But I do wonder how this will play out because we've been promised so many signings. We've been hyped up for so many signings this summer already. So I do wonder how Barca, if this is true, Dev, and it does play out the way you just said, then how does Barca approach the summer window? That is my question because we've heard things about a big center back, a big striker, and whatnot. In the end, we just end up renewing Lewandowski for one more year, and
And that
then
might
I don't
happen because
know.
they're saying at 13 million, they're willing to give him a contract extension. That's all they're
Well,
saying.
there you go. Yeah, there you go. Doesn't surprise me at all.
So it can very well that we just continue, we just tweak the balance books, we just balance it out, and maybe we buy an Aeon or whatever. But I don't think we are going big this summer. We just don't, we can't, because we just owe other people many things which we need to take care of, beyond all the loan and the debt and everything else that we have and so on. So one is to
Yeah.
one is just one thing. We also have to manage other things out there, so on. So that's that. KJ Leon says La Masia players like Vachil, Danilo Casados are good enough to be squad players. If we give them chances and more minutes, we can start. You are right. Absolutely, you are right. We can possibly farm them off for more money, which is what exactly Chelsea does, and that's their model. I just don't think Flick is that kind of a manager, or Barcelona is that kind of a club. I don't think Barca have kept Athletic as a feeder into the main team. They don't care how much money they make from it. Look at our sales. We are so bad. We sell for like $500,000, or we're terrible. We're really, really terrible when it comes to selling and buying. Like we just, I don't think that's the philosophy of the club. Um, for them to play, Flick has to be convinced that they can play and not give away the advantage. I don't think he's convinced, because otherwise those players would play, and they're not playing. Flick has to win silverware. He knows that very well. Forget all the niceness and we are family and all of that stuff. Big clubs like Barcelona, you don't win trophies, you're out. As simple as that. That's just basically what it is. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your history is. You don't win trophies, you're out. So obviously there's pressure, and he obviously doesn't think they can manage, and that's just the reality of it. So unless we change who we are into becoming a club that who actually, well, we say La Masia, but we want to win trophies. Just let there be no doubt about that. But your thoughts?
Yeah, mostly the same. I think Flick does know a little bit more than we do, and just the fact that he's playing the likes of, and don't disrespect them, but Gerard Martin's playing a lot. Eric Garcia has been shuffled all over the pitch, every position by you can imagine, and that's so Flick would rather do that than maybe reach out for another La Masia player. Maybe it's just not the right time to introduce more youngsters into the team. Maybe that's his way of thinking, or maybe, as Dev says, maybe just he doesn't think that they are ready to actually be first team players in terms of quality, experience, maturity, whatever it is. Flick knows a little bit more than we do. So I would say that when it comes to that, I would trust Flick and say, okay, maybe these players, they do look good for the B team. They do look good in the highlights. They do good look good.
For
Jesus,
the debate.
in the yeah, exactly. But then maybe when it comes to it, when push comes to shove, maybe Flick just doesn't
That's
want to risk it at this. Yeah, doesn't trust him at this point, which is also fair because you can't have 11 children playing or 20 children in a team. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
And Letty sells bang average players for good price. Hey, they do. And not just Atleti, there's so many clubs who sell bang average players at such great prices. And then I see our transfer and it's like, okay, another 1 million, or some of it's crazy, 500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million. That's how we sell, right? So, but I don't think we are a selling club. That is not Barca's philosophy. It never has been. I don't think it will change
Yeah.
anytime soon. Guys, we need to focus on the league. We're not good enough for the USL. This league title is winnable. Yes, we always should focus on the league, because you cannot depend on UCL. UCL, you can be the best team in the world. Bad day, you take a defeat, and that's it. It happens all the time, right? So, um, and the squad is not that strong. It's brittle, and there are lots of holes and gaps. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We should focus on the league, and if we do focus, we can win the league, which is to me an outstanding outcome given where
Oh yeah.
Barca is.
Yeah, if Barca win the league again, which they should, I think they have everything to win the league. Even despite these bumps, they have everything to win the league because winning the league over a season of 36 games or so is a better showcase of your quality, I would say, than Champions League. Champions League is just it can be a coin toss, and that's just horrible. And I don't know why, but this team just I don't know. It doesn't. I don't. I didn't feel much even tonight when we were losing to Slavia. I was just okay. I just laughed it off for some reason. I was more upset by the Sociedad loss the other night than I was with tonight's performance for some reason. The Champions League just that's the way it is. I mean, just there's nothing. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is. So
All right, Lambota doesn't get a I think Font will send part of that. I mean, okay, so there's so many things to unpack in this. I think it'll be a if Laporta doesn't win, it's the worst thing that can happen for this club. Forget everything else. Yes, we don't like him. Yes, there are many problems, but I think there is no other person better than him right now to take us out of this mess completely. Then he should go when we are in that baseline. He will not be there forever, but I don't think that time has come yet. And will Victor Font be able to do that? I doubt that. I doubt that. It's very hard to match what Laporta brings in terms of charisma, in terms of everything that he does. And that has been incredibly helpful for the club. Yes, there are his detractors. Yes, he has his own things. Completely agree with you on that. Now, the socio model, I do want to talk about that. It's like we are not in a socio model, guys. We have 140,000 socios, right? Even if they pay, I don't know, 100 euros a year, 1,000 euros a year, that is not even a drop of water in what runs the club. The club needs $1 billion to run. The club right now is owned, whether we like it or not, by Goldman Sachs. That's just what it is. We don't talk about it because that will not be the nice PR, but that's what it is. It is owned by them fully in debentured bonds, right? So whether it's Madrid, whether it's us, nobody's going in that model financially. Yes, there is a voting mechanism, 100%, and that's good, and we should keep that, and so on. But money is not coming from socios. It isn't. It never did, right? So the club has to run. So financially, that's just not the right take. Um, Architecturally, the way it's orchestrated and it's run in terms of governance, yes, we are socio-led because we have the voting power of 140,000 socios. But then 140,000 socios to Barca's fans, we have 500 million fans on Twitter or whoever, wherever else, right? So what gives? So it's a very difficult question to think that. I don't think any president can keep it just on socios and so on. Socios are important from a voting perspective of how the club is run, the statutes. That's fine. But money wise, I think we will need money, and money will only come from advertisers, sponsors, or venture backers, whether that's equity led by a bank, which is Goldman Sachs, or whether that's a billionaire in America, which is the Arsenal model, right? But that's the only two models. There are no other models, right? So that's just what it is. But from a governance perspective and just managing the Barcelona politics, I think the only person who should be there for another 3-4 years until this is completely done is John Laporta. No questions on that. But Dom, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a topic that we have discussed in the past. It's a very interesting topic as well because, yes, it does concern the future of the club and how do we compete with all these clubs that suddenly have so much more money than Barca have ever had. And that's true. I mean, football has become such a business, and this is kind of the battle for the soul of football, so to speak, in a way. But then Dev was also right. It's very difficult for Barca to rely solely on the socios and then also compete with the biggest financial giants of the business. So I think it's gonna be there's gonna come a time when Barca will have to make some decisions and see how can they adapt, how can they actually survive in this market. Because yes, La Masia has been the great equalizer for us because we don't have to go into the market and buy a Pedri or well, Pedri. We had to buy a Pedri, buy a Bernal or whoever it is, right? Or a Lamine or a Kubarsi. We can just produce them, so to speak, and that's always been Barca's strength because we can do that. We didn't have to buy a Messi or Xavi or Busquets or Iniesta, and yes, that is somewhat reliable and sustainable because Barca do have a history of doing that. But then again, this ties back to the discussion we had just earlier tonight, and that's that not every generation of these La Masia players will be a golden generation. Far from it. And then sometimes you'll have more of Casados and more of these squad level players than you'll have Lamines. It's just the way it goes, and that's the usual. That is actually the more expected outcome because you can't have more than one Lamine. I don't think that football works that way, unfortunately.
I like Laporta, but he improvises a lot. Seems like he has no long-term plan. Yes, this is a criticism that is labeled against him a lot, and I think there's merit there. I mean, no person is above criticism. I think he has his flaws, but let's put ourselves in his shoes for a second, right? So we take the office in 2021. We have 2.8 billion dollars in debt. We don't have money to make payroll in the next month, right? And we have an aging squad who have enormous salaries who don't want to leave, and we have to get rid of them, get new players, still win the league, build a stadium out of nowhere, keep all the other stuff, the Negreiras and everything else that's happening, and still keep going with positivity. Guys, we just don't know what we're talking about. We won't survive a month there. What he has done, and I'm like he and the board entirely. It's not just him. There are a bunch of people out there who are doing this. It's incredibly hard what they have done, and and within that, yes, they will build the plane as they fly it, because they also don't know the answers. They're trying things here and there. They're trying a hack here, a thing there. It works great, doesn't work, they try another thing. The whole bridge invest thing, it was done with the best interests in mind, right? And we loved it, because without that there would be no Lewandowski, there would be no Kunde, and so on and so forth. So we loved it when it happened, but it was wrong, and we paid for it for the next 5 years. As simple as that, because it was just not the right thing to do. It was not the financial right move, but we did it, and we had to pay for it. And that's why we have negative equity of about $153 million right now in the club, right? So yes, he has done that, but the circumstances were dire. Could it have been a better CEO? Maybe, yes, there might have been, but there wasn't anyone. He was there. He did manage it. We are out of the red, and we have won 3 leagues titles in that time frame. Think about Juventus. Think about Arsenal when they were building their, stadium. 14 years. Where was the trophy in Arsenal? There
Yeah.
wasn't any, right? So there are things that we need to keep in mind. All right. Why do British media? This is such a long topic. I won't even answer this here. But you're right. They are, and there's a reason for that. But let's go into a more football question. Dom, what makes Rafinha struggle in games like this? Not enough space, lack of whatever. Go.
Well, both of those things, I would say. Rafinha needs space. Rafinha cannot really wiggle out of all these low blocks. He can find gaps and then receive the ball in some favorable positions and do his ball striking magic. But generally, Rafinha works best when he can run and then receive the ball, as opposed to receive the ball and then do something with it against a low block or against a deep sitting opposition. I don't think that that's his forte. And that's how he was used when he first arrived at Barca. He was used as a dribbler, as a creator who receives the ball and then tries to do some sort of a magical trick to get into more space. But then Xavi and also Flick realized, okay, no, this is not the way to use Rafinha. He needs to run, and then the ball needs to find him. That's the optimal way to use him, and then get him close to the goal, and then he'll do the rest. So yes, to answer the question, you actually answered your own question. Yeah, I think both Lamine missing and then Rafinha just the game state just not favoring him, and we also losing all the duels, also being cold and miserable out there in the team, just kind of looked a bit down overall. I think all that kind of impacted his performance. But yes, to your point, that is a pretty good explanation for it.
All right, let's
It
look at some game stats before we sign off. It was, yeah, you can see it. Like we were there, we were playing. It wasn't a 4-2 match, but it was a 4-2 match. And for a while, it looked bad. That's just what it it did until Olmo came and scored that goal, and then Lewandowski buried the fourth one. So, but it wasn't easy. It was physical, and we struggled with the physicality of it, and you could see that, and the temperature and the weather did not help for sure. The pitch stadium and so on, but those are excuses. You can't really talk about that. If you look at just the ratings, you can see there's only one Fermin Lopez. Rest, everybody has had an off night. Like this, but today was Pedri was one of the it would be bad to say worst games, but it was really Petri wasn't himself. That is just what it is today, right? So sometimes it doesn't happen. Rooney, yes, same. Rafinha, you already guys mentioned it. He wasn't available. It was Fermin mostly who made that happen, and then De Jong, Garcia, and the two Garcias. But overall, if you look at the team, they probably didn't turn up in the way we expected them to turn up. But that's just what how Champions League is. Dom, does your eye test say any different than these ratings that you're saying?
No, not really. But I am looking at the reports now, and it does seem that Pedri's hamstring has been torn
There you go.
again. So that means they're saying 3 to 4 weeks. But then we know how that works at
When
Barca.
it
Three
means
to
three
four
to 4 weeks,
weeks.
that's 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's a torn hamstring, that's bad. That is bad. Luckily for us, on paper, we do have a sequence of slightly easier, knock on wood, easier games. So maybe this is, I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here because it's not good to lose
It's not
Pedri,
good at
and
all.
then
Yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah,
isn't good
and
at
that
all.
will yeah, and it would explain if he was carrying an injury, perhaps maybe that would explain how why
Probably
he was
yes. Why I was
yeah
playing
why
that
he
well.
was off. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there was a knock in the last game, and we all remember it, right? We saw it, and we felt that might have been something. But then he's so important for
Mhm.
Barcelona. They probably coaches play him, or he needs to play. But now we have a bigger problem in our hands. All right, let's look at
Yeah,
the match stats, and this shows like 1.42 to 1.01 wasn't really that we created a lot, and we didn't expect Slavia to create so much. Look at that; those big chances, 2-1 total shots. I mean, yeah, they were there. It wasn't easy
yeah.
for us. It definitely wasn't a walk in the park, and they made us sweat, and it could have gone the other way. All of those things could have happened, and now, with all the injuries, we possibly, left worse than we arrived.
But look how funny that is because we had an XG of 1.42 and we scored four
4 goals,
goals. And then when you look at the Real Sociedad game, we had over three
and
XG,
we could
three
score.
point something XG. We couldn't score to save our lives. So it's just football is so funny, man. It just is.
Football is funny, but yeah, that's just how the numbers are, guys. There's nothing much to honestly analyze. I think we just like take the win and we go, and hopefully we win against Copenhagen and some of those matches that we just analyzed in the beginning
Yeah.
of broadcast. They lose a point and we can sneak in that 8 so that we don't have to play the playoffs. I think that'll be good enough. But again, depends on the opponent that we face. So as long as we get an easy opponent in the last minute, it doesn't matter whether we play a playoff or whether we go through 8. What matters is an easy game. I'll just take my chances from that perspective.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, I think maybe that's it for today, guys. It's been an hour. Jesus, it's been a long stream. But thank you all for joining us. Not too much to talk about when it comes to the game itself. I don't think the tactics played a big part in it. I don't think that the team really showed up. Of course, we scored four goals, which is good, and we won, which is the more important thing. And then some other results did go in our favor
Favor.
as well. So we still have a chance of reaching the top 8, and that's the goal, guys. That is the goal. But now we go back to the grind in the La Liga, which is to me
Which
still
is
kind
more
of the
important.
more
And
important.
without
Yeah,
Pedri,
yeah,
it's going to be super hard because we have got some tricky games out there.
yeah, yeah. We do, and we need to bounce back somehow because the last two games have been, so that was a good performance, bad result. This was a bad performance, a good result. So we'll see how we continue, or how do we change this trend and just get back to our usual winning ways. That's what I would say at this point.
All right, KJ, we will, I promise you, we will have some content around this and we will discuss this one day. Probably not today,
So
but I appreciate your thoughts. And, we have similar thoughts as well.
yeah,
So we'll bring that in. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining. Good that we won. Hopefully, we can get this over the line and see us in La Liga. And as I said, do subscribe to the blog. There are a good few pieces that we are bringing out, one on finance, one on Rooney, one on overall, just creativity of the players and so on. So hopefully see you there and you enjoy the content. And until then, take care, stay safe, and Visca Basa.
it's Barca, guys.